Welcome to the Perfectly Flawed podcast, where we share stories and conversations with amazing people who've achieved extraordinary success by embracing their struggles and imperfections. They've achieved what they have, not despite their perceived flaws, but because of them as well. On today's podcast, we talk to Tom Morley about his time as a drummer. He describes himself as just a drummer, but he's not just a drummer. Not only has he played with the likes of David Bowie and Madness and founded his own band, the 80s band Scritti Politti, but he's also got out there and he has brought drumming to organisations and corporates and all kinds of people. I think he's one of the most creative minds that I've spoken to, and I hope you enjoy what he has to say. Very warm welcome to you, Tom.
Here we are, yeah.
And here we are again. Here we are again. We've been here before.
We have.
But we think this will be a better conversation. We don't just think. It will be. It will be. So we have spoken before, and what's fun about that is we can find fresh new ground and take it from wherever we were before. So let me just introduce you before we move into whatever we're going to talk about. You are the founder and drummer of Scritti Politti, 80s band, rock legend as well, because you've played with the likes of Madness and David Bowie, and I'm sure you've hung around with all those people in the heyday.
Yeah.
Have you? Yeah, I've seen photos of you looking very glam.
Yeah.
So but we've encountered each other a few times over the years, and I first met you doing something called the Life Talent Program, where you came with a whole bunch of drums and you were uniting a room. I was a coach on this program, and it was leaders who were there to discover their kind of life calling and vocation in life. And we had various people come in, and you were one of them who united the whole group through drumming, through call and response, through music, and just got us out of that cognitive, rational thinking head and into the present. Well, you must explain what it is you do. So very warm welcome to you. Thank you for coming, Tom. And also, just before we go any further, we've also had some lovely walks in Richmond Park.
That's right.
And I've got a nice little video of our shadows walking along while we're having conversations. So I'm going to post those as well when we post this podcast.
Great.
So tell us about how you unite people.
Well, that's a good question.
What is it you do? What's your job?
If there's one thing I would say about uniting people, it's read the room. You know, people often post on Facebook or somewhere on LinkedIn, what's the one thing you would tell your younger self?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I've just realised it's 3 words. They say in 3 words. You've got 3 words. Read the room.
All right.
And what that means is, whatever message, whatever book you've written, whatever courses you've done, whatever you've studied, when you get in front of an audience, be it 20 people, 15 people, people at a party, 1,000 people at a conference, bring all that with you, all that study, all that, but read the room. So you might think, I was going to do this, but this group sure ain't going for it. Or you might think, I was going to hold it back, but this group are really up for it, right? So so the event you're talking about, where we first met, it was full of people, and the leader was quite a kind of academic guy. He didn't want to be, but he was. So I knew that group were going to be under his sort of umbrella influence of, yes, let's take some notes. And I just thought, I know people in that state just want to break free. And they were in a safe environment. I remember we were in Regent's Park, beautiful place. Yeah. So I just thought, well, I can be free here. And because it's time bound, they know it's only going to be half an hour or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then
It's safe. It's
yeah,
safe to let
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yes. So what I do in answer to your question, the safer the environment is, the more I can set people free.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I get people playing drums or singing in harmony or something. And I remember I was invited to a gig in Italy, and it was outside Rome, and I thought, why is this so easy? And these people do anything. And then I realised, right, we're in a castle,
Right.
up on a hill, in one of the top turrets. That's where the training was happening. I thought we couldn't get any safer.
Yeah.
Psychologically,
Right.
those people were just, we
interesting.
we
So the
do
building
anything.
itself was making them feel safe.
Yeah,
the setting.
So
And what about the Italian permission to? I mean, when Italians speak, they'll use their hands a lot more than, say, more Northern Europeans.
Yeah.
And there's a permission there to do that, isn't
well,
there?
this was a UK group that had been transported out, so they were out.
Yeah.
But in answer to your question, they were out of their own environment, taken to a beautiful environment, food, drink, castle, up on a hill, safe. And they trusted the guy who was doing a whole 3-day event. They trusted he would supply them with all the experiences they needed to be more creative. It was a kind of branding 3 days, of which I was woven into. But so that's one. I mean, this is rather a long answer to your. When I say read the room is the first facilitator. The environment is the first facilitator, and that's for everybody. When they get on stage, if you're in a place where the breakfast wasn't very good, or the staff were rude, or transport from the airport was haphazard, you're not going to feel that safe. So you're just going to be thinking, let's get this over with and get back home. Whereas if everything is laid on, and I once, it must have been 30 years ago, first retreat I ever went to, when I got there early, just because of the transport. It was in France, and the facilitators, there was a Tai Chi facilitator, the main man, Richard Moss, they were all weeding the garden. All these beds outside this mansion. And I said to them, why are you doing that? And they said, well, when people arrive, we want them to feel really present. We don't want them to come into a sort of weedy, overgrown environment. So,
I thought it was that they were grounding themselves by pulling up the weeds, because they were just getting into the soil themselves.
No, they'd probably prefer to have been in the bar or meditating somewhere, but they thought, right, okay, we will set this up. And so what do I do once the environment is set?
Can we just talk about environment a little bit more? Because I've got a few more thoughts on that.
Yeah, go on.
Well, we've been talking about, just bringing it into the present, we've been talking about this environment that we're in today. And we were talking about, the chairs have been changed since the other times I've done podcasts. And so there was a double thing going on. So at the one hand, there was like, I'm a bit disarrayed. This isn't the normal space.
Yeah.
But the other thing was just a reflection on what we're now kind of facing an audience. The way the chairs are positioned, there's an audience. And one of the things about a podcast for me is a really present conversation with the person I'm talking to, you today. And we've had some disarray. You talked about disarray of the transport and everything, and you've had a couple of days of everything all over the place. But here we are now, and it takes a moment. I think a really good podcast or conversation happens when both people eventually land and feel safe to really not just say anything kind of off the top of their head, but open up their hearts and say something a bit truer to them.
Yeah. And in the way of that, what would you say to your younger self in 3 words? I think you said, open your heart. The quicker you can do that in any environment, after a shock, after what they call triggers these days, after a trigger, the quicker you can recover and open your heart again, rather than shut down and go, I'm scared. It's not what I thought. You know, that's what we all need to do now, because we've been triggered all the time, and we shouldn't be. Our brains aren't wired to receive as much news as we can. Probably 200 years ago, we wouldn't have heard what was going on in America. We wouldn't have, our experience would have been who's marrying who in the village, who's having an affair, and when is the church clock going to get adjusted to be in line with the town next door,
or the sunshine,
or the sunshine. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that'd be it. But now we're triggered all the time. We're shocked. I mean, if we're not shocked all the time by the state of the world, then we're dead. Or we're not thinking. So we have to recover, and we have to be in our hearts.
Yeah.
Be in your heart.
Well, I go be here. I'd say my 3 words would be here now.
Be here now.
Be here now.
Yeah.
But, to your point around that, we used to, I read somewhere that the amount of information that we are exposed to in a day is the same as a lifetime 100 years ago. So, a day of just overstimulation, especially if you live in the middle of London and you're travelling through.
Yeah.
But,
so if I just reel that back to now what I do and what I did this morning with a group over in Borough, 20 people coming together for a kind of a way day thing. And the warm-up that I did, which was movement, singing, I played the drum, I got them moving, up from there, chairs, in a circle. And I said to them, look after the circle and the song will look after itself, which is something I came up with once in a talk ages ago. And someone said, that's really important. But what it means is the relationship between the people is as important as getting the part right, the rhythm right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter because if you're kind of open to other people's vulnerability, then it's fine. Everything works. But the outcome is you forget about Trump. You forget about all the other stuff that's troubling you for a while. I'm not saying it wipes the brain so you never think about it again. You'll start thinking about it as soon as the session's over. But for a while, it is a relief, not in a kind of haze of alcohol or drugs or anything. It's a relief in connecting to your heart and other people's hearts, because that kind of activity creates oxytocin in your body, and when it's created in everybody, oxytocin being the bonding hormone, especially in the circle. I don't explain this, but it becomes it's almost sci-fi the way it connects people. And people get into this zone, and they try and explain it. They go, "Oh, that coffee must have been really good that we had in the break."
They get into a sort of altered state of their own making,
of their own making, which of course
the dose you're talking about.
Dose, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, all that.
It's a dose of your own truth. It's a dose of your own realness.
You make it yourself. You don't have to.
But in connection with other people.
And that's why I say, if you look after the circle and the circle look after the song and look after itself, is that when you do that in a circle, then I think it's. I haven't really looked that much into it, but I think it's ancient what happens, and there's a reason people kind of circle up. There's a reason when they say, why are those cave paintings deep in the cave? Why weren't they near the door of the cave where there's more light to paint them? It's because if you look where they were painted, there's very often some kind of dome in the cave, so that would have meant that when they were singing together, the harmonies would have been really beautiful because they've been
so is that the best space,
that's a theory,
acoustically, to have a dome shape over
it's people sing in the shower, but they think it's because the door's locked and all that, but part of the reason is because the reverb you get from the tiles on the walls, maybe the floor, reverb sends your voice back to you, but slightly altered. So the more versions of that you get back,
Yeah.
it's like a harmony. It's like your
Yeah.
own harmony.
Right. Yeah.
So
because it changes a bit, because it's like with light, there's a new angle on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like like the facets of a diamond or something. Which is why when you're recording in a studio, there's a thing engineers do, or producers. They say, well, all right, we're just going to try a quick take, just get the balance right and everything, and they make you feel all relaxed. And then they put some reverb on your voice, so you immediately think, oh, I sound good today.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you go, seems to be quite a lot of reverb on that, they go, oh yeah, sorry mate, yeah. But they do it deliberately to give you confidence.
It's a bit like a special mirror that makes you look good.
Yeah, that's what it's like. Yeah. So we create that with each other.
So there's a lot of different strands that I'd love to talk about from that, but one of them is just going back to the physiological one. I'd love to come back to that reverb and the sound in the room, but just back to the physiological response between human beings. There's a friend of mine that I want to get on this podcast, Lou LeBent. So I'm going to name check you, Lou.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to come sometime. And she's a specialist in trauma therapy. She's a therapist, and she talks a lot about regulating the system, and how important it is that as a therapist we're regulating us, the system, our system, and that whatever's happening with our own heart and our own breathing is going to affect the other person. But you as a musician, and particularly with your speciality now of connecting human beings in a room, would know all about what changes in one person's physiology changes. And it seems to affect other people.
Yeah, it's in the drumming world, it's called entrainment.
Oh yeah,
it's not entertainment, it's entrainment. And it's when there'll be a point in any music session or a creative music session, sometimes in a band, but and you see it on stage with bands as well, is that everyone's getting all the parts right. They've learned them, it's sounding good, nearly as good as the album, and then suddenly it'll go click, and you go, oh, what happened? It's suddenly come alive, and it's because we've become entrained, and it's like that typical team building quote. You become greater than the sum of the parts. You become this.
You've been entrained and entwined.
Yeah, so you're woven into just one. I mean,
harmony.
Visually, it could be a tapestry, but harmony. Yeah, so the harmony.
Harmony of human beings.
Yeah. And I tell you a very funny thing. Sometimes I teach on a Greek island. I teach this.
Is that
course.
Skyros?
Yeah, Skyros.
Yeah.
And I was told by some people who come to my groups regularly, there's a point where I smile, and they say, "Oh, we're just looking for that smile." I go, "What are you talking about?" Because me thinking I'm this professional poker face sort of doing my job. And they said, "No, you'll be smiling in that this is going all right. It's all going, and then there'll be a time when you just smile." And we know, because they said also we can feel it.
Yeah.
That is when the harmony locks and it becomes this thing. And apparently I light up when that happens. I didn't know this at all, but a few people told me, yeah, we love that smile. We
That's
just live
amazing.
for that smile.
Yeah.
So it's very fun. It's present. It's present in the room, and now I know it's present in me, and that there were times in Scritti Politti where, we couldn't actually play that well in the early days. We were right on the edge of what we could play. And but there were times on stage where we would just lock, and a significant thing here is that I think we may be the only group in history where people didn't come and call out for their favourite songs. They'd say, make one up. Because in the early days, we used to make songs up on stage. We used to do one everyone knew, and we make one up. Do everyone, and that's where the first time really that look after the circle, because it was about our relationship. We all lived together, we talked together, we thrashed out politics together, we talked about art, we talked about everything. We knew each other's ups and downs. So when we made a song up on stage, we were listening acutely. We didn't have to go, oh, I better listen now. We just were. That's how we were tuned to each other. And there were times in those songs, never recorded, only ever seen by the people who were there at that gig, unless they bootlegged it on a cassette. But when we got that lock, and people, I remember one of the Raincoats, the group The Raincoats, said to us after one of those gigs, we were sharing the bill with them, they said, you never made that song up. It was just perfect, you know. And we never played it again. And so it was just for the people in a room that night. And I love that, actually.
Oh, well, I think, Tom, you are definitely at your best from what I've seen of you when you do that on stage as well, speaking. So it's not just with music, it's being in the moment, and maybe it's all your experience at being able to make music up that means that when you're able to trust that when you're on stage and speak to your audience from there, that's when you're really amazing. And you light up as well.
I think I learned something from depression. I got very depressed at one point. I did a personal development course, and weirdly enough,
can you say what the course was?
It was called Insight.
Oh yeah,
and it was back in the must have been the early 90s.
Part of Landmark Forum, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. Landmark Forum was around at the same time.
Oh.
It was a different course. It was actually more. What can I say? Landmark Forum had its own style, but Insight was very heart based. And when I started that course, I hadn't slept for 3. I mean, I was really very depressed. I hadn't slept for ages. A friend recommended it to me, and I thought I'll give it a go. It was over 5 days at that time. I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'd started taking Prozac. My doctor put me on Prozac, but it hadn't worked. You know, Prozac, if you take it when you're depressed, it actually makes you more depressed, or it can do, because you can't sleep. But the thing is, I did this course, and you stood up on a microphone, you know, and told your story, and then the facilitator kind of helped you a bit, and I spoke to one of the assistants afterwards, and he said, "Yeah, we, amongst us assistant group, we said who's the saddest person in the room." And we all said you. This is our kind of 50 people.
You've been voted the
saddest.
I've been voted the saddest. And the winner of saddest person.
That's right. That's right. But during the course on the microphone, I noticed that as I was telling people about my state of mind, that they were laughing. I mean, they were amused by the way I was putting it.
Yeah.
And so I started to build this confidence on the microphone. At the same time, the Prozac kicked in. So I started to feel much more sociable.
Yeah.
I could get some sleep for the first time in 3 months. So during these 5 days, I transformed from this saddest person in the room to the person everyone wanted to hang out with. Oh, what's Tom going to say next? And at the end, so one of the assistant team gave me a piece of paper. He said, you know, I know you're high and everything now, but you might need this. And I thought it was a phone number on it. I thought it's going to be the Samaritans or something, in case I relapsed. But it was actually the number of someone who's run the comedy course, stand-up comedy, called Jill Edwards, who I'll always remember. I'm very grateful to Jill Edwards. It was at City Lit, so it didn't cost me anything. And it was a 3-month course, and at the end of that 3 months, you went out as a group and did your 5 minutes in a comedy club in London. So I learned there that, and the first thing that all comedians do, I mean, there's some basic rules. First thing 90% of comedians do will refer to what the audience is thinking about them. So at the time I had long dreadlocks, and I used to just go and say, hi, is anyone else having a bad hair day? Because I knew that's what they'd be judging me on. Or I go, hello, depending on the audience, I go, hello, my name's Tom. I don't take drugs, actually. And then they laugh because they knew. And if you see a really tall, skinny comedian, they'll go, hello, can you see me all right at the back? You know, so you refer to what their judgment is or what their, so you let them know. So I use that a lot in my work on stage. I think, where are you now? Where are you now? And I play with them in, I learnt this actually from Ricky Gervais, watching him. He would pretend to be taking questions from the audience, right? He'd get on stage and he'd go, what's that? What's that? Am I still doing the charity work? Yeah, but I don't talk about it. I don't talk about it anyway. And then he'd talk about, what? How much, mate? Yeah, 5 million last time, but you know, I don't mention it.
These wouldn't be.
No, he wouldn't be getting questions. He'd just make it up. So consequently, I learned that I can do that in my. I was doing it this morning. You know, I got everybody moving, and I go, you know, I really sense what you're thinking, and someone's thinking, it's all very well. We're moving. You know, you're drumming. You know, it's feeling good, but well, what about the song? How come we're not singing the song? I go, okay. And then someone from the audience will always pick it up. They'll go, yeah, it's me. It's just... Okay, all right, just for you then. Just for you. We're all going to sing a song, everybody. And then and then the song's sounding great. And I go, oh, hang on. I'm just tuning in. That's all very well. What about the harmony? Where's the harmony? All right then, just for you. We can do a harmony. So I love playing with them like that, because there will be someone who's thinking, yeah, we've done singing and drumming before, and then I just build it till we get to a place where I go, well, thanks, thanks for all your feedback. We really got somewhere there. And then I say to them, do you know what? You're the best group I've worked with for 20 years. And they laugh because they know I'm lying.
Yeah.
I'll go, yeah, of course I say that to every group. But you lot, you really are good. And I say, yeah, actually I say that to every group. But you are really good. I've never said that before. So I keep, and they're laughing, because eventually I get to a point where they really do believe it, and because I say something specific about what they've been doing or how they progressed, or so.
But
I just play with them all the time.
You've done it with some really like uptight, straight down the line groups where people have hardly dared say something out of turn, never mind do a bit of harmony or bounce around and do some drumming and go wild. And so what do you think you're really doing for those people?
Well, if talking about read the room, if I get on in front of 200 lawyers or something, I know probably 180 of them just hate me. So, but I know, so I can see that in their eyes and in their minds. But I look.
What do they hate about it? They're just terrified of.
They're terrified. They think,
persona being broken down.
We've got a clown on stage. We're coming. He's not serious.
But what's that scary? Why is that scary for them personally?
Well, they think he's going to get us to do something. And we don't want to do it.
Take our.
We might have to stand up.
Jacket off. Like our.
Yeah.
Our
I came to sit
metaphorical one.
Yeah, I came to sit in the dark, pretend to be watching PowerPoint and doing my emails.
Yeah, that's scrolling on my phone or whatever. Yeah.
So, and this guy's going to have to. He might point one of us out. He might.
I might have to be present.
I might have to be present. So, but the thing is, I can read all that, and then I think, but I'm not talking to your mind. I know your mind is judgmental as hell. That's how we're brought up, but I'm just going to talk to your heart, which isn't that judgmental. Yeah. Your heart is missing the groove, it's missing connection, it's missing love, it's missing trust. And I'm just going to provide it now, in the next 5 minutes. And then we're going to carry on for another 20 minutes.
Wow.
And then you're going to enjoy it. If I addressed their mind, I could not do the job.
No.
I couldn't convince them. All right, let me tell you why. Dopamine, oxytocin, they go.
No, they don't care.
We don't care. So I just say, okay, can I just ask you to stand up? And then if they won't move, you know, so I have this rocking movement, which I just say, put one foot forward, back. No, nobody ever refuses to do that. It's too, they'd look foolish, you know, to do it. Once I got them doing that, then I know they're kind of hooked, because they start to feel it. And then I can see, it's almost like I see these lights. You know, when you're on a hilltop at night and all the lights in the village come on?
Yeah.
It's like that. I see them come on bit by bit by bit. And there has never been a time when I haven't seen that. And it's not because I'm special or anything. It's just that that's how people are, you know.
Well, I love what you're saying there. Their hearts are hungry for the trust, for love, for connection.
Yeah.
And everybody is. And I feel the same, even though I do it more through talking, and it's a much harder battle. I don't think, you know, getting to where you take people very, very quickly is it's a much harder route if you're using words, although I've tried to use art and images and things like that. But at least in my mind, I know, or I believe the same thing, which is everybody's a human being under the skin. It doesn't matter how many layers they've put on top.
Yeah.
Everybody is hungry for it, and it's as soon as you start talking about if you can talk about it in a safe way, people will be there.
Yeah.
And I think music is quite a safe way of talking about it.
Music is safe. And now if you say to young people, what do you want to be, they'll say a DJ. But in the old days they used to say, I want to be a rock star. Yeah. So and Jamil Qureshi, a famous speaker, I was working with him at a gig, and I came off stage. He was going on next, but he said, let me tell you who you are. He said, you're a rock star activator. And because we'd been talking about how do I brand myself, and it wasn't like you're a rock star and you activate people. It's like you activate the rock star in people. He said, I just saw it. And he says, I've seen it a number of times. You just do this thing, and people, that's the heart thing. You see it light up. So it's like your inner rock star. And most people, you know, was it Thoreau said most people, they live lives of quiet desperation and go to their graves with their song unsung. Not on my watch. You're going to sing your song, or at least you're going to sing a version of your song that could get you into singing a more customized version when you go home, or when you...
Even if it's just for 10 minutes or 20 minutes when you're there, they get to do it. And I think if people can get those glimpses just for a little short period of time, they'll want more of it. That's the drug they want. Yeah. I mean, that's what people are looking for, isn't it?
Yeah. And in terms of perfectly flawed, you know, the I'm dealing with my first bit where I'm dealing with their judgments. That's the perfection thing. They want to stay perfect in their, you know, comfort zone, and they don't want me up there being, you know, flawed. As I obviously am,
or forcing them then to reveal their own flaws.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're flagrantly showing your flaw. Exactly. You're getting up on stage. You've got long hair. You're not all dressed up in the corporate way. And
I'm not being perfect. And
so in that world, you're completely flawed.
Yeah, and I very often have a camera on me, so I'm I have this big back projection. You know, I was born in 1954, so, and we were poor. I didn't have any proper dental work. So I know they're looking at my mouth. My teeth, you know, they're worse than David Bowie's before he had them fixed. I mean, they're British teeth. Like Americans always go, I can always tell British people, their teeth are so crooked. So I know that they're looking at my mouth to get the vocal, get the harmony, whatever. So I'm completely flawed in that respect. However... and I even say to some groups, you know, I can't really sing this song. I've started it too high. So, but anyway, we're going to stay in this key. I'm going to sing it to you. I want you to sing it back to me. And then there'll be, you know, 30% women. The women can get those high notes really well. So they sing it back to me better than I can. But I don't mind being that flawed, because I remember one group kept coming when I was doing public events. They kept coming, and they were like angels. They were like these three young women. They sang absolutely perfectly. I said to them, why do you keep coming? You don't need to come to my group. And they said, no, we love it. We love being better than you. And we love the way we can relax, because when it's just the three of us together, we get a bit tense. But when we come and sing with you, it's like we can be as brilliant as we are, but we're also free. So that flawedness, I think, is, it's permission. That would the flaws give everybody permission. They love it. Every group I've ever worked with. If I make a mistake, I say everybody, okay, so it's like this, the rhythm goes like this, and then I mess it up.
Yeah.
They love it. They go, no, Tom, we're going to play it how it should be, and then they play it right.
But also sometimes the getting it wrong or the so-called mistake is actually the thing that generates the new direction.
Yeah.
And in any form of art,
absolutely,
it's it's the and in evolution of the species, it's when something goes a bit differently. There's an anomaly. Yeah. And you embrace it. Yeah. And you go, well, how do we use it? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Like you starting off in a key that's too high. Yeah. But that's interesting. You're using that in the space to make a better experience.
Yeah, and it gave them permission to be better than me and for them to take it. I go, I can't sing this song. You've got to sing it. I'll just... go,
and it's like when you're doing a presentation, it's sometimes when things go wrong, they can be the best things of all. Yeah. I've seen you... This is why I think you're so good at improvising. I saw you talk and you probably... I think you felt the speech was a bit of a shambles because you'd had all this coaching on your speaking at the time. So you were trying to do all this stuff with a flip chart and you're trying to put graphics down, and it was the funniest and most brilliant thing ever. But you kept... I think there was like part of you was going, no, I've got to keep doing... I've got to keep drawing this circle and I've got to explain it. But then you'd sort of do it for a bit and then you go, oh no, that's wrong. And you'd scrumple it up and you do the next page. But it was like this, you could... I think as an audience member, you could enjoy the tension of, I'm getting it wrong, but it's okay anyway because we're all having a laugh about it. I'm getting it wrong. We can have a laugh. Yeah,
and it was like the comedian Tommy Cooper. He just gets it. And but the great thing was about that, and I didn't know because I'd say, okay, so we've got 3 circles, rhythm in the middle, vision, values, and vibe. Values up here, and I just put a V.
Oh yeah.
And then I just scribble, and people were laughing at that. I go, well, that's values. It's at the top.
Yeah.
Vision.
Yeah, you wouldn't write the whole thing out.
I just put a V and then scribble.
Even though there was 2 visions.
They thought that was really funny. Yeah. I thought, why is that funny? It's just how I think, But
it's funny because it wasn't because it's not how you're meant to do it. How you're meant to do it is make it really neat. People go, okay, that V is vision, that one's values. But because you were like finishing it off.
And even funnier, I had there was a screen, proper PowerPoint screen, which someone had put some of my slides up on it, and I was saying, you lot are really good. You've got the rhythm, vision, values, and vibe. And I thought it was going to take ages. And they said, well, Tom, it's up on the screen. And there was this perfect kind of Venn diagram, which I hadn't seen. Again, it was like a kind of Tommy Cooper moment. Whipping it.
You couldn't have created that. You couldn't have planned it to be so good.
No,
but that was why you were so good in the moment. And then I think in some, I might be wrong, but I think you almost lost a bit of confidence about that and kind of thought, I'm not doing it right. But actually, that was the right way for you.
I tell you where I lost the confidence. It wasn't in that. I thought I could do that all right, but because I saw the evidence and a mate of mine filmed it. But I thought I'm also a fan of David Sedaris, who writes these brilliant essays and he reads them out. And I was offered too early. I was offered a sort of keynote at a PSA event. Normally you do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, don't they? But I got offered 45 minutes, and I thought I can't just mess around for. Now I'll tell you this: I did think of doing that 45 minutes as Q&A. I thought we're going to start at the end.
Yeah.
I thought I'll get on stage.
Nice.
We're going to start at the end. Let's just do
start with Q&A, and
but
then I'll lead up to the title.
I decided not to. I thought I've got to be like David Sedaris and read some of my stuff, because when I'd put it online, everyone said it's so brilliant the way you start with this and then you somehow wrap it all up at the end. So I thought I have to do it line for line. Now, at school, I was the worst in the class at reading anything out. I was so shy.
Yeah.
And I don't. It was a big mistake to do that as a performance. And I saw people go from engaged and my more sort of improvised style to kind of looking down, fiddling with their fingers whenever I was reading.
Yeah.
And I knew, and someone said after that keynote, he said it was brilliant. I've never seen anybody take us up so high and then take us down so low and then take us up so high. He said it was amazing. And I thought I didn't really, I was just hoping to sort of coast in the middle.
Yeah.
that was my intention.
But I think I think it comes full circle back to daring, or knowing first of all what makes you an enjoyable presence.
Yeah,
and that in your case is particularly the improv and the unprepared, not being prepared, just share what you've got to share in the moment, and then knowing it, and then having the courage and confidence to embrace that in the present and make something of it. Like you do it with your music, like you said with Scritti Politti, you would create something in the moment. Why not just do that?
I know
when you're speaking, which is what we're doing right now. We're creating something in the moment,
and it's actually really good. I'm realizing, talking to you now, that after that experience, I kind of gave up on speaking. I thought, it's not for me, this whole thing. I can't look out at an audience looking down at their hands, because I'd spent 20 years of people looking at me going, wow, this is great, if it was team building or drumming or that. So I thought that I'm just going to return to that, which was a bit of a shame, because I'd spent 2 years concentrating on seeing if I could be a speaker. And I always said that I want to elevate myself on a schedule. I just want to move forward an hour from being the warm-up guy to being the speaker, because I thought they get paid more. They don't have to unload 200 drums. They get to fly first class. They can post, like Jamil does, post pictures of himself on a plane drinking champagne. I thought, that's where I want to be. But I thought, it just isn't for me. But maybe it is. I mean, I'm bringing out a book with all those things in it, those things I was reading out. I thought, I'm never, ever going to read anything out on stage. I'm just going to bring the book out. If people want to read, then it's going to be in the book. And then illustrating the book, I got into AI, and then I got into AI music. So the book is going to be those stories, plus QR codes to videos, plus QR codes to songs. It's going to be an album, basically. Plus,
that's nice. An album.
QR codes. Yes, it'll be an album in the book. I'm making it album shape, like it's 12 inches by 12 inches book.
Yeah.
Which everyone's saying, don't do that. Make it a paperback.
No, make it your way.
Make it your way. And I listened to that for quite a long time, and then I thought, do you know what? 71. It may be the only book I'm ever going to write. I'm going to make my album.
Yeah.
I've got the songs. I mean, if I was reviewing it, I would say Tom Morley has redefined the book in 2025, because now you can do anything. All the pictures I gave up making when I was at art school in order to be a musician. In those 40 years, I filled those 40 years in.
Yeah. Since
leaving Scritti and writing songs and having to get other musicians, studio time. Oh, we have to wait till the producer's back. All that.
Yeah.
I've made up that time in the last year because of AI.
Yeah.
So my book will be, and I'll tell you a secret. It will be flawed in that I wrote all these different intros to it, and then the latest intro starts. He's lost his memory. Mate of mine fell off his bike, lost 80%. He's asking us who he is, but the significant thing is his family told him all the good things about himself. They didn't tell him how grouchy he used to be or how politically entrenched he used to get. So consequently, his daughter's saying, she brings a new boyfriend to the house and saying, normally you'd have kicked him out. You know,
Yeah.
it's freaking, you know, he's a bit right wing. But I said, look, I'm writing this book for me in case I fall off my bike, because I live in Cambridge now. In case I lose my memory, I don't want people only telling me the good things. So if you hear of me in hospital, please bring me this book.
Yeah.
And because it's got all my flaws in it and all the good things, and it's got all my songs in it now. It's got all my pictures. If I want to look up what kind of art I like, it's all in there. So that, but that gives me permission to make the book I want. Because if someone says, "But I don't like it, I can't get it," I don't care if you don't like it.
No, it's a book
This
for
is
you.
my book.
Yeah.
That my nurse is going to bring to me when I'm in hospital, saying, "Here you are, Mr. Morley. This is who you are."
But why is it so important to have your flaws in there?
Well, because they're connecting. Like I say, that insight experience, me on the mic, I connected with everybody because I was telling the truth about being depressed. I mean, really, I didn't sleep for 3 months. I was in insomnia. I shouldn't even been alive. And I say to my audiences, if they won't move, I say, look, you lot, you're 35, you're probably between 35 and 40. Here am I on stage, 71. I'm moving. I should be in some rest home somewhere lying down because I lived a rock and roll life. And let me tell you, it wasn't very sensible. So if I'm moving, you can move. They go, all right, it's fair cop. Because they'd like to say, oh, I twisted my ankle a little bit when I got out of the car. Well, who cares? You know, it's going to get some endorphins down there. It's going to get better.
Yeah.
So I think that, and I mean, talk about, you know, the flaws, vulnerability is what connects us all.
But why do you think it's important to know them for yourself? Why would it be important in your book?
Well, because I want to know who I am. You know,
Wouldn't you rather know yourself as being perfect?
No, I don't want to be so. Well, because what's that set me up for? A life of having to live up to this guy in the book, and I just think, I messed that up. I forgot to, you know, I got the other day I missed a speed awareness course. So I don't know what's going to be the outcome of that. But the people all the time they say, Tom, we want you to come and be yourself, but could you not do that thing, or could you? We can't move the chair, or could you not do that?
Wow.
Well, what you mean? You want me to come and be myself, but not do this?
The very thing that's at the heart of it.
Don't bring your flaws, because the flaws are connecting. They, you know,
and their perceived flaws, like you moving the chairs around. It's just their rule book that's saying you shouldn't move the chairs around. But the moment you do move the chairs around, if that's not what's normally done, it frees everybody up. It liberates them.
Yeah. And I, if I do that in schools, if I need to get them to move the chairs, you know, in order we have space to work. Teachers don't want to really do it, but I say to the group, look, we need you to move those chairs from there to there, and please really moan about it as you do it. Say, oh, I don't want to move. I don't come here to move furniture. And they absolutely love it. And then they've done it, and I go, oh no, wait a minute, we want them over that side. So please take them over there and just continue moaning. And they by that time everyone's connected. Then they'll do anything I want, you know. So, all right, so now let's form a circle, and they do it immediately. They don't go, why do we have to make a circle? Because they've built that kind of permission to moan.
Yeah, what a good one, because that, you know, that there's so much pressure on kids to be obedient. And it completely dampens their spirit. They're like, do the right thing, be a good. My son sometimes says, "Am I a good boy?" Yeah. I kind of go, how awful. I don't, you know, you don't have to be a good boy. Just be, just, you know, it's fantastic in any environment, whether it's a school culture or an organisation, when there are people saying different things and pushing, but the system hates it, doesn't it? The system kind of gets discombobulated. But that's where the creativity, we were talking about this earlier on, a few things have gone wrong today for both of us, and not to plan, let's call it, not to plan.
Not to plan.
But because it wasn't going to plan, you know, it doesn't matter, because big picture, there's an opportunity for something new, a new picture.
Yeah. And that's in terms of education. I wish I knew the name of this book, but maybe we can put it in the notes later. But there's a guy who studied education. You know, because education, I mean, it was designed for the Industrial Revolution to educate compliant workers, which we don't need anymore.
To be factory workers.
Yeah, to be factory workers. So it's completely not fit for purpose.
Yeah.
But this guy studied people who are really young, and there was a boy with his father. He said, draw a picture of a house. You know, and this boy drew this. It was like an aerial view of the house, grid. And
what, from like bird's eye view?
Yeah, bird's eye view. Yeah. And the dad said, well, I kind of like it, but there's no door. And the kid said, yeah, that's because you and me are, this is me and this is you. We're in the house. And if there's no door, you can't go to work and leave me.
Wow.
So he'd deliberately drawn it with no door. 3 years later, comes back, having been to school.
Yeah.
Dad, I drew a picture of a house. You know, chimney.
Same as everyone else's
windows,
house. Yeah.
Door. Rubbish. Absolute.
Yeah.
I mean, that poor kid. And poor us. Poor anybody who goes through that education system. Yeah. That we would have all had our own version of that bird's eye view with the no door or whatever. Or no.
Do you know Robert? Have you come across Robert Fritz's work?
No.
Oh, he wrote a book in the 70s and 80s about creativity, and he talks about how we get locked into the system, but it is when the system is in flux and chaos, the tension that we're so tempted to resolve in the right way. So as soon as there's tension created, we want to go da 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 da.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to resolve it in the right way. Yeah. But if we want to get something new, we have to generate a new resolution.
Yeah.
But otherwise we keep reverting back to the compliant system. So where there is, so let's say when somebody gets made redundant, which wasn't the plan, or they get divorced, or they get cancer, or like something happens in their life and it wasn't going to plan, suddenly there's a doorway where you've got an opportunity not to resolve your life in the same way and keep going to work to the job you hate for the next another 10 years, 20 years.
I mean, I think all spiritual kind of teachings, for want of a better word, that they all have an aspect of, in order to live, you've got to die. And that's what I did in that first depression. I've had 3 very deep depressions, but in that first one, I did, I died so, and there was a point I remember when I thought I'm not going to fight this anymore. I'm just going down, 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 and then I hit rock bottom. And there was 2 words. There was one was harmony and one was rhythm. I mean, I felt myself hit I had nothing, absolutely nothing. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any connections. I couldn't sleep. Didn't have a job. And but there was rhythm and harmony, and I came back from that very slowly. But that's what I came back with. That was at the bottom of the well. Harmony and rhythm. In my death, that's what I got sent back with. Yeah. So I thought, all right, well, I know what. That was that's all you got to commit to, harmony and rhythm. Yeah, and everything else. Trains running late, tickets, strikes, whatever, clients being flaky, we want you, we don't want you. I just kind of, and sometimes they say this as if it's important. They say, we've moved the date of our conference from here to here. I go, all right. Yeah. I'll come then. Or I won't come, I'm booked. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care about the date of your conference. Yeah. I really don't care. I mean, I care about making the money, but they talk about it as if it's somehow important to me. No, harmony and rhythm are important to me. You provide me a stage to bring harmony and rhythm to your organisation, and I'll come. You'll bring the harmony, or you'll unlock it. Unlock it. Yeah, of course. So what else? Identify it. Yeah.
I'm curious to know what else you found at the bottom of the other two wells.
Well, at the bottom of the other two, I thought I'm never ever coming here again. If I ever get back, I'm never ever. I'm going to learn everything, every technique, every early warning system.
Is that under the second one?
Breathing, yeah, and then it happened the third time. I thought, oh, fuck.
So you'd really got the second one. You thought it's about indemnifying yourself against it. At the second, it's like
the second one. I couldn't believe it. I thought I can't. I know too much to slip into this, but anyway, I've written about it. The funny thing is, I've written about it in this kind of early draft of the book, and everybody when I was looking to be a speaker, all the speaker coaches said, "Don't put that in the book. It's very honest and it's very raw and it's amazing writing, but don't put it in the book."
I feel that you're robbing us.
Yeah, but
somebody's robbing you.
Well, the interesting thing is now, I think I'm gonna release it at the same time in a separate book. It's going to have the same cover. It's going to be the same format.
Put you in. I keep thinking you.
I know.
You keep denying us of your full.
Well, there's a reason I'm doing this. All right, so I'll tell you. There's
You stop. I mean, you're so willing to be completely out there 1 minute, and then every now and again you pull it back.
Yeah.
Don't pull it back. You got 71.
Yeah, well, it's true. So, I mean, my way of thinking about it was I'm going to the first book is called what's it called? It's called Sandwiches with Bowie, Bongos with the Queen, right? Because sure, I played with David Bowie, but everyone's more impressed with the fact that we made sandwiches together in the studio. Bongos with the Queen, yeah, Albert Hall. Second book, which will be released on the same day.
But that's the first time
format.
Bongos and Queen have been put in the same.
It's good. Yeah, exactly. Second one's going to be Champagne with Warhol, Bongos with, I'm not quite sure who Bongos going to be with on that one. And then the third one will probably be Prozac with the NHS, Iboga with the Shaman. Because I looked at different ways to get out of depression. And Prozac was actually very good for me, I have to say. A lot of people don't get on with it. Second time, it didn't work at all. But I did do, so Iboga is the African version of ayahuasca. So I did some of that, had my visions, learned what I needed to learn. But there'll be three, it'll be like, and the reason I'm doing this, because I know the first book will be the one everyone says, like the first album, everyone says, your second album is going to be real trouble because you put everything, all 70 years. What are you going to do now? Talk about being 72. So I'm going to split it. And so I'll do the first book, second book, third book. So there'll be a trilogy. So I'm doing this in expectation that a publisher is going to come and say, we'd love to release some of your work, but what can we do? You've done it all. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, you can just put it all in one book for me.
Yeah.
And we'll call it Mischief Generation. Okay.
Right.
Why Mischief Generation? Because I'm from the Mischief Generation, which is the baby boomers, and I generate mischief. Okay. Well, I think we could sell that. Maybe. So that's my current plan.
Generating mischief, is that part of what we were saying about creating flux, creating chaos?
Yeah.
Because when you create mischief, out comes something.
Yeah,
something
and
new.
in every freaking mythology, what do we have? We have Loki, we have we have the coyote in Native America, all these mischief
chaos makers. Yeah.
Chaos makers, but it is the source of creativity. Because everything else, I mean, we say, I made this up based on Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's work. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi said flow is found at the intersection of discipline and surrender, which is good. Well, I thought there's something missing. So I say the groove is found at the crossroads of discipline, surrender, and mischief.
Right.
And I said that to Jamie Wheel, who runs the Flow Genome Project, and in America, I've worked with him quite a lot now. And he said, how did you come up with that? It's kind of, we've been trying to define this for a long time. I mean, people often say this to me. How did you accidentally
Yeah.
fall upon this thing, this formula that we've been trying to define with our minds? I go, well, I just did it, actually. And I just noticed there was some mischief missing. Or mischief is the ingredient that makes me light up in that way that Yatsitsa. Because, yeah, everything's there, everything's locking. But then there's, oh, now we're having fun with it. Or now we've... sometimes I say, now you know the song. Now you know the song. You can improvise. Take the line, take the main line, and bring it in a different place in the bar. Just try it, and then we turn into this amazing kind of experimental. It's like some gospel choir that's been practicing for months to do it, you know. And then when they hear it,
wow,
they go, "Oh, I'm going to do that again." And then someone else hears it and tries it, and it's. So yeah,
but it's like when you try to do it a second time or recreate it, it's sometimes hard, isn't it? Because
really hard.
You're trying to grasp for that thing, and you've tried the wrong way because the thing happened because of being present in that moment.
Yeah,
and
that moment, that time. So the discipline and surrender are always similar. You know, you need the discipline. I mean, unfortunately we're in a time when people want to get to the mischief too early.
Right.
We grew up. I mean, I'd say I grew up because I'm a different generation than you, but I grew up in a time of deferred gratification when, you know, my parents met in the war, and my granddad was in the First World War. So there was always, we're waiting for this, we're waiting for that, we're saving up for this. When we've got enough ration token, you know, we can bake a cake, you know.
Yeah.
So I grew up when we were used to waiting for things, and now you go, oh, I need a bracket for that. That shelf that needs putting up in the garage. I'll go to Amazon.
I know.
I need a bracket.
Straight away.
To be this long. And Amazon somehow have that bracket in a freaking factory. It's like something that's science fiction.
Yeah.
Because in the old days, you'd have to go to some hardware store in another town, make sure it wasn't half-day closing Wednesday, you know, go on a Thursday, describe the bracket, and they'd say...
They might order it in for you.
We'll order it in for you. Yeah, come back in a month. So that was deferred gratification. And we kind of, you know, that's the discipline. And it's funnily enough, there's both discipline and surrender in that. There's surrender in, all right, we've got to wait. There's the discipline to wait.
Yeah.
And then there's the mischief of actually putting it up and going, yeah, great. I've always wanted the shelf there.
So was that what you found at the bottom of the third well? Was that at the end of your third depression?
That's a good question. I think it probably, yeah. I mean, for the sake of this podcast, I'd like to say that. At the bottom of the third well.
Is that because it makes a good story?
Depression. Yeah, I remember now. Discipline, surrender, and mischief. Yeah, that's all I came back with. That would make a good story, and I think I'll program that in my mind. But actually, that is kind of what I came back with, because I came with it. Like I say, I came back with a hunger, never, ever to go there again. And before, with rhythm and harmony, they're not that stable, are they? But discipline, surrender, and mischief are. And being at the crossroads. I deliberately said at the crossroads rather than at the intersection. Because when you say crossroads, you get a picture. You can, and in terms of...
Well, you've got music, 4 choices too, haven't you, at Crossroads? You've got 4, you can go back.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And what do you do at the Crossroads? In the blues, you get down on your knees and you make a deal with someone. Might be the devil, might be God.
Yeah.
But you're there to make a deal.
And that, yeah. And that's also where people sell their soul at the Crossroads, aren't they? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you stand at the cross and you pray. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's all kind of, there's also, and sometimes I say it's the crossroads of Discipline Avenue and Surrender Avenue, Mischief Highway, but there's a bar. The bar might be called Surrender. So in terms of imagery, I'm always playing with it. But there's always those 3 elements: discipline, surrender, and mischief. But if there was one word, I mean, if there's one word that people put on my headstone, it would be drummer. But if there was another word, it would be mischief. You know, and that's what. I said that on the podcast in America, and the guy's a really nice guy, Jamie Cohen. He said, you should just have that word as your USP.
Drummer of mischief.
Mischief. He just said mischief. He said, because I'd never heard anybody use it in a positive way before. It's always the thing that messes everything up. Stop making mischief, you know, but start making mischief.
So just taking all of that, what does perfectly flawed mean to you?
Well, it resonates with me because we strive for perfection. That's what we're meant to do. I mean, all exams, you know, straight A's, you know, get a first, we with Instagram and TikTok are flooded with perfect makeup. This is how to do the perfect makeup. This is how to make the perfect omelette. You know, and yeah, we try all that stuff. We mess it up. Our faces aren't symmetrical. We don't look as good as that. We're older. So the flaws, the flaw is just owning up to. I mean, the flaws are actually how we are. Right? The perfection is the illusion. The flaws is
reality.
Us getting out of bed and, you know, kicking that bleeding chair again, even though we said we'd never kick that chair again.
Yeah.
Now hopping into the bathroom going, oh God, no. It's so we're flawed from the moment we get out of bed. You know, we try and plunge the coffee and we try and plunge it too soon because we're desperate, and then it splurges all over the kitchen. It's like
it's life, isn't it?
It's life.
It's reality, and it's the human condition.
Yeah, yeah.
So being perfectly flawed, is it about accepting that?
Yeah, I mean the perfect and the flawed go together well. If you accept it, it's exactly the acceptance of it. It's, oh, this is life. I'm not messing up some fantasy life where everything's perfect by having some flaws today, or I have to hide my flaws behind makeup or behind my one pager or behind my website. And I mean, the good thing now, probably even on LinkedIn, although it's become a bit of a style to be vulnerable on LinkedIn. Hello, I'm on LinkedIn and I messed up my finances this year. Oh, you're so brave to admit it. You know, it's become a style of vulnerability.
Then it's not in a way. It doesn't.
No, it's
false again. Performance, performative.
Yeah. So what we want is real flaws. We want
the flaws that we don't like, that we've got a bit of maybe a mixed relationship to, because we've all got mixed relationships to our own flaws.
Yeah.
There's stuff I would rather people didn't see in me, and I'd rather people see me a certain way, a bit more perfect than I am.
Yeah.
But those ones, maybe if I can lean into the ones that I'm a bit uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. But
I love the term lean in, because lean in, it comes from, I didn't realise what it was. I thought it was like leaning into a table in a meeting. But I think it comes into leaning into a corner when you're going around.
Oh, really?
Corner.
Oh, yeah, that's what I think, yeah.
When you're skating or when you're cycling or on a motorbike, you have to lean in order to get around the corner.
Even though you're tempted to pull away.
Exactly. Yeah. You're tempted, to be that, you know, that more kind of upright. So,
Tom, I feel like I'm feeling very, I'm feeling very recharged and refreshed by a conversation. But I'm conscious of the time, sadly, because I was going to say that as a drummer, you would know about time more than anyone. But I was thinking about the time of being present and present to each moment, and then responding with improv, or responding to each moment. But unfortunately, we can't unpack that can of worms. We'll have to have another one. We'll have to meet again.
Well, I'll say one thing about it is that when you get in the groove, it's like when you get into flow, you don't want to stop.
No.
So you don't want to think. When you talk about the resolution, some of the best rhythms, and I teach these sometimes. I say, if you want to keep people dancing all night, play 6/8 rhythm. This half of the group are going to play it. Then you're going to come in a different place in the bar.
Right.
And they've learnt enough to be synced and they hear it, but there's no resolution.
Yes.
Because this
They
group
keep going.
This group resolves at a different time to this.
Yeah.
So that's how, and that's where I think that's probably where we used to be a few millennia ago. We were always in the groove.
Yeah.
Because if we weren't, we would die. So we had to stay in the groove as tribal people. And then we started to separate and go, no, it's my little bit, it's my little bit. Can you imagine living in a cave?
Yeah.
It's my bit of the cave.
No, you want the other people as close as possible, because you'd be a bit chilly in there, wouldn't you?
You want to keep warm. You want to keep singing. You want to harmonise. You know,
and keep your spirits uplifted.
Yeah,
like those boys kept in that cave. Oh, we have to
right,
we have to finish.
But
I have one more question. I always ask everyone. So if you can just reflect that back to those times when you were kind of perhaps at the bottom of the well, or even earlier. What advice would you give the younger you?
Well, like I say, read the room. But in that context, it would be don't fight it. Breathe. No, you're not going to die. And go with what's happening. Don't try and tart it up. Don't insist it's positive. Just be with it, because it's like a friend of mine who's a trainer. He knew all sorts of techniques. Said, Tom, sometimes life is just going to have its way with you. You don't know why. Maybe you'll never know why. But as long as you keep alive, you will come out the other side. Not necessarily a better man, a changed person who has more kind of wisdom in a way, worldly wisdom, how to live in the world. Because you'll also know, you can die and you can live. And then you can die again and you can live again. And then you can die again and you can live again. So keep the faith. That's another 3 words, isn't it?
Keep the faith.
You just got to keep the faith.
Well, thank you very much for coming today, keeping the faith throughout our hour and a bit, and for coming back a second time, because we decided the first one wasn't where we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was perfectly flawed, but we thought we could be more flawed. It was perfectly and more
flawed,
perfect.
But limited, and I think we've expanded in this conversation. So I'm glad.
Yeah, me too. Thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you to Tom Morley, and thank you for listening. I just love how unifying the work that Tom Morley does is. He unifies people through drumming, through chanting, something so primal. But he's also engaging with the latest technologies of AI, and I just think he's an intriguing person, and I'm very happy that he's here on this planet to share his joy and fun.